want it, not when they need it, and that's how that works. But this spec can be used with one-handers or two-handers. I really like using it with two-handers, but it works well with one-handers too. I don't know if it will work that, like, I've used it with one-handers and I feel like I'm a little bit more rage starved, and I don't feel like I do as much damage as I know I don't do as much damage as I do with two-handers, but it's still there. So this spec is the same for my 30. I still like double time, use Warbringer against my heals, Juggernaut whenever. I don't find myself using Juggernaut a lot, just because I mainly prefer double time or Warbringer. Um, my 30 talent, I'm not using Unquenchable Thirst, so I find myself going in Rage Regeneration a little bit more. If I'm using two-handers, I still use Impending Victory, because more health, more healing. This is only 10% of your maximal health, and an additional 20% over 5 seconds. But I think you have to be enraged to get the additional 20%. Otherwise, it only heals you for like 10% of your maximum health. But then it only does like 5 or 10% over time healing. So Impending Victory wouldn't be as big of a heal still, but Impending Victory would be a really good on-demand heal, and it's a shorter cooldown, so you could get 2 of these and 1 of these, and it out Impending Victory would obviously out heal in Rage Regeneration, but it just depends on you as a player. Do you want if you're one of those players that you don't watch your health until the very last second and you're like, oh gosh, I need to heal now, then Enrage Regeneration is definitely you. And if you're one of those players that are always concerned about your health and you're always like, oh man, I'm gonna need to heal any second now, then Infinity Victory is probably you, because you can use it more often and it'll still heal. I find myself using both of these. I like them both. Now this is where things are gonna get unbelievable. I don't take either one of these, one-hander or two-hander. Furious Strikes. Uh, I can't even explain why. The rotation will explain it all later. I'm just gonna skip explaining for now and go on to my 60. Same. Stormbolt, Shockwave, Safeguard, Vigilance, depending on whatever. For my 90 talent, Bloodbath all the way. I never choose either one of these for this spec. And, well, actually, that's a lie. I'm really liking Bloodbath with it. I'm gonna be totally honest though. I really want to use Bloodbath with this spec because it's a lot of damage really quick, and the dot damage helps. But I really like using Blade Storm because this spec, you really don't have a lot of ways to build up rage besides your Bloodthirsty, and it's on a cooldown, so you need something to kind of psych people out. You need something to think you've halved your damage when really and truly you didn't. So I find myself taking Blade Storm, and it works better with Blade Storm. And yeah, Blade Storm is decent, and I went the wrong way again. For my 100 talent, this is another one where it's like, what did he just say? Is this guy crazy? I use Ravager, and the reason for this again is because I don't have a lot of rage to be spending. I'm gonna rage dump a lot, but it's not gonna be enough to get my abilities back, and I'm not gonna be using a lot of my abilities anyway for rage dumping it like instantly. It's gonna be something that's over time, so this talent doesn't help me that much. Siegebreaker was okay. I used it. I liked it, but I just felt like I was a little too rage starved. I just fell through rocks. I felt like I was a little bit too rage starved, and I needed the heal, or I needed the I needed the healing over time with my Impending Victory when I used it. So Siegebreaker just wasn't a filler for me, because I needed, well, yeah, I needed something. I can use this. I used my Ravager a lot defensively, so if I'm attacking and then I realize that I'm getting low and I realize they're bursting and I don't have my impending yet, I can just throw down my Ravager, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm just waiting on my heal. If they run in and they attack me, they think they're low enough to kill me, then they're going to do damage to themselves. And by the time they thought and they were like, should I run in or should I wait for it to go off, I probably either have my heal back up or someone has managed to get a heal on me. It works kind of that way. And if nothing else, I can use this bursting if I'm running with a rogue, which is what I like to do with this spec. He has CC, so I can throw down my Ravager, throw down my Bladestorm, do big damage. Their healer just trips out, and he's like, "Oh my God, they bursted! They're blowing everything. I need to pop my trinket, and I need to heal this guy." And really and truly, I haven't bursted yet. And I'll go over my stats really quick because I haven't done that. For this spec, I'm really liking Mastery over Crit over Multi-Strike, since this relies on all procs. I'm gonna be using my Bloodthirsty a lot to get that enrage, and that's why Crit is second, but I still need the Mastery damage. I still have to have my Mastery. So I take my Mastery, go first with it, and Bloodthirsty has a 30% chance to crit already, so I don't need to put crit first. And multi-strike is last because this damage is so bursty and so unexpected that you really don't need the extra damage added onto it, but you still want it. So I put mastery in there, or I put multi-strike in there, and that's about it. I can go over my glyphs. One-handers. This is it. I take this. This makes you like pretty much have a Barskin, unable to be critted against. 25% chance to reduce crit. I always use this. I never take this off. I don't think I've found a glyph better than this. A lot of people are saying they like to use Rallying Cry for the leeching, but I don't like leeching. The only time I would ever really think you would use leeching would be with the two-hander spec, where you had impending victory. Maybe you're dying and 20% leeching might help you out. But I don't ever use this. If you could use both of them together and you wanted to play really defensively with one-handers, that would work too. But I don't see it, and I replace Rallying Cry with Bloodthirsty because 100% increased healing from Bloodthirsty. It only heals you for like 2k. With my Bloodthirsty, it heals me from maybe 6 to 8, which is better for me. And the only thing I ever really change about this spec is my last one right here, which is Rude Interruption. And I changed this for 3 different things: Shattering Throw, Spell Reflection. If I'm fighting healers and 3s, I keep this. If I'm fighting Pallies, or maybe like a Pally healer, or a Ret Pally, or maybe even a Mage in 2s or 3s, I'll use this to break that first. Since mages have the ability to regenerative ice block, I'll break their heal because they try and save their block till the last second to get that heal off, and that just ruins it for them. And the only other time I change this out is for maybe like Warlocks, Affliction Warlocks. I'll see them cast their Unstable Affliction, or maybe their Haunt, and their Haunt does a lot of damage, so I'll run Spell Reflection there to do extra damage. For my two-handers, it's pretty much the same. I still like Bloodthirsty. I still use Flawless Defense. Sometimes I do like using Rallying Cry, but I don't actually have it on this guy, so I don't use it on him. And same goes for these 3. I normally keep these. And this is the only exception for the third spec, which is one-hander and two-hander. I kind of stick with Flawless Defense since I don't have the ability to heal as much, and I'm going to need the defensives because they're going to try and burst on me, and since my damage is over time, I need to stay alive as long as I can, which is actually where my rallying cry comes in handy, because 20% of all the damage and the healing done is pretty good. I use that on this spec sometimes. I still like choosing my Bloodthirsty though, because Bloodthirsty just, you know, that extra heal, it isn't bad to have. I like it. I don't see the problem with it. And this Rude Interruption actually doesn't exist to me. None of these do. I know I could be a lot better off if I use these, but I have to take Unending Rage because the burst potential of this spec, you need the rage for your wild strikes, and I replace these two. In drastic cases, maybe I'll run double mage, or there'll be a double mage comp, or double Ret Pally, or something like that, or a druid might run. It might be running with a druid or Ret Pally mage, and I know they're gonna have super lot of defenses, like Hunter with double deter, and then Ret Pally double bot plus bubble. I might take that here, and then I'll replace my Unending Rage with Bloodthirsty, because normally I'll have a healer with me, and that's about all that I take here. Oh, I just dropped the phone. That's about it, pretty much. For rotations, if you're one-handers, you're just gonna kind of play normal like you would. You want to Bloodthirsty a lot. Raging Blows, Wild Strikes when they're procced, obviously. Executes whenever they proc. When I burst, obviously, I want to have as close as I can to full rage so I can rage dump. If I'm bursting, I always try to, when I'm bursting, I always try to have an execute proc and a raging blow proc. I don't have to have wild strikes because I know that I'm going to be close to full rage, so I'm going to be able to dump a lot of wild strikes into that person. And that's for my one-handers. For your two-handers, I don't have to explain the rotation because you're going to be spamming Bloodthirsty all the time, and you're just going to be using procs whenever they proc, obviously. And for the Furious Strikes ones, obviously it does what it says. It's kind of self-explanatory. You're going to want to Bloodthirsty as much as you can to get your Wild Strikes up. You're going to get your Raging Blows. You're going to be using your Raging Blows whenever they proc. Since you went Mastery first, it's going to do good damage. And you're going to try and build up as much rage as you can. That's, you know, you're going to be using those procs. Try and get your full 120 rage with your glyph. When you get that 120 rage, you're probably going to be running with a rogue with this spec, and you're going to want to have your abilities up. You know, you're going to want to have, you probably wanted already to Ravager. You're going to want a Ravager and Blade Storm just to scare people, and they're going to be like, they're going to think you're bursting, they're going to run away, they're going to waste some defenses to stay away from you because they're scared. That, you know, they might use their heroic leap or their blink or something, whatever they're running with, to try and get away from you because they're like, oh no, he's bursting. And then that's when you want to get your full rage and you want to pop your cooldowns. You want to set it up pretty much. You want to bait them. And once you have that full 120 rage, you pop your cooldowns. You're going to want to Stormbolt or Shockwave, whatever you can do. You get your trinkets going. You get everything. You got your enrages on. You just put as many wild strikes as you can. And if you can do it, if you can manage it, the hard thing about this spec is you're gonna want your trinket going, and then you're gonna want to have your proc trinket, so you can, you know, you want to have your proc trinket going. You want to have your trinket. You want to have your trinket that you can click, and then on top of that, you're gonna want your mastery, or not your mastery. You're gonna want your enrage going. So that's like 3 procs right there. And then if you can, you want to try and get the 3 free Wild Strike procs just for the extra. You know, you already have 120 plus the 3 that are free. It just adds up that much more damage. Works really good. But a lot of the problem with this spec is you have to set up. This spec really requires you to have someone healing you. I could see this being a high rated spec, especially in threes, because you wouldn't be that guy who, or you would be that guy who has constant steady damage, and then you could run with a pally or something with wings, and or a rogue with burst, you know, and then that rogue just opens up with his cheap shot. Go ahead and throw your Ravager, your Blade Storm, do whatever, make them pop defenses. You know, your rogue's gonna have really good damage plus burst damage. Make them pop defensives, and then out of nowhere, pop this and you wreck face. I can definitely see it being really good. Right now, I'm really liking it in BGs, and I'm really liking it in 2s. I'm gonna try it in 3s just to make sure I'm not telling you guys wrong. I've actually been trying it in 3s with one-hander, and it's doing okay. I've tried it with I actually tried it with two-handers. I don't have two-handers yet. I have primal two-handers, whereas I have the good one-handers and the bad two-handers. And I actually do more damage with the bad two-handers with this spec than I do with my Conquest one-handers, which like I said, that happens, you know. That's obvious that would happen, because this spec works really good with the extra crit and mastery, and the two-handers definitely get you that little bit of mastery and crit buff. So other than that, that's about it. If there's anything I forgot, or there's anything anybody has to ask. Oh, I don't think I went over two-hander. If you're two-hander, like I said, you want to go mastery over multi-strike over crit. Most of your gear is going to have mastery in it, and if it has mastery, I think the gear is set up like haste crit or mastery and multi-strike. So all of your gear, even if you break set bonuses, like I have set bonuses right now, but I can tell you right now, I don't even think I'm gonna have the 2P set bonus. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think I know if I have a set bonus, it's only gonna be 2, because my gear is all multi-strike and mastery, and the other one is crit and haste. So all of your gear is gonna have mastery and multi-strike. They're paired really good together. So what I like to do is I like to enchant crit, just get my crit up there with the rest of my stats for two-handers, and then for my weapons, I use the crit enchant again. For my both spec, or my skilled spec, I use mastery crit over multi-strike. I kind of like to throw it around. I can use all three, you know, depending on what you want to play, since one-handers really need more multi-strike, and two-handers really need more crit. I like to throw it up, toss it into the air, and see what comes out. Since mastery is your highest spec, and like I said, mastery and multi-strike gear are the same gear, I kind of like to enchant the crit to get my crit higher than my multi-strike, but I have been going multi-strike to see how it works. I do prefer the crit though, just because I don't want multi-strike over crit. And that's about it. And my enchants for my both spec is I think it's actually mastery, but I haven't tried crit because I'm broke. I spent all my money on enchants, and I don't even know what happened to them. I lost all my enchants. They're all gone. I literally spent no telling how much money, and now I can't find them. No idea what happened. So that's about it for this guide. I hope you guys enjoy. If you see this, like it, comment, tell me what you think. Tell me if you know something better, or maybe you know something I don't know. Maybe you just know something I don't, and maybe there's another spec out there that you've combined, and it's almost like my 3 specs, but maybe you use something different, you know. Let me know what you guys think, how you think of my specs, try and use them, and please tell me what you think. I'll see you guys in the next video, and hope to see you.